Have you ever found yourself powering through a stressful workday, responding to other people's emergencies, and caring for everyone around you while quietly wondering, how much longer can I keep doing this without burning out? If you're a leader in healthcare or another high pressure setting, it's easy to forget what it's like to enjoy a moment of rest or even friendly conversation without feeling like you're falling behind. But what if you could restore your energy and deeply connect with others without needing more time? I'm Dr. Annie Campanile, a trauma informed coach who knows what it's like to be stretched thin in high stakes environments like healthcare. If you've been feeling overextended or emotionally drained, and you'd like a quick fix that actually works, this episode is for you. Welcome to Heal Your Trauma, Find Your Voice, the podcast for trauma survivors ready to break free from people pleasing and self doubt. I'm Dr. Annie Campanile, here to help you trust your intuition, communicate clearly, and build relationships that fulfill you. Each week, you'll learn practical tips to heal past wounds and turn surviving into thriving. Today's episode is for everyone who would like to experience less stress and more connection. But I'm going to highlight folks who work in healthcare because in 22 years of coaching healthcare leaders and clinicians, I've noticed a pattern that comes up again and again. You're excellent at anticipating emergencies, handling rapid decision-making, and staying composed when other people fall apart. But the tactics that enable you to function under that much pressure often disconnect you from the part of yourself that craves meaning and genuine human connection. When you're always scanning for what's urgent, you may eventually find yourself dreading each workday or wondering, how much longer can I keep going without breaking? I know you don't have time for complicated practices, so today I'll teach you how to recharge your energy and create moments of genuine connection with patients, with colleagues, and with your loved ones, without needing to spend more time or even say a word. This will become crystal clear after you've heard a story of how I met a toddler named Kennedy at a park in Texas one spring morning. Using a picnic table for a bench outside a historic concert hall in New Braunfels, Texas, my friend and I soaked up the warm sunshine while her two little boys climbed a tree nearby. My friend and her family had traveled from Montana to see her brother-in-law perform in what was known as the oldest continually running dance hall in Texas, and everyone was in high spirits. While I listened to my friend tell me about their visit to San Antonio, I paid close attention not only to her words, but also to the thoughts crossing my mind, my emotions, and my body sensations. I consciously relaxed my lower back and took longer, slower breaths. Around that time, I had been experimenting with using my imagination to give and receive love without needing any words. This was kind of like an antidote to all the intellectual time I was spending while I was earning my PhD. I wanted to balance myself out and explore different aspects of communication. So while I watched my friends' boys play, I imagined that my heart could radiate love toward them, surrounding them in the same way that warm Texas sunshine bathed all of us, not requiring a response, but simply offering a gift. All of my attention was on appreciating the moment with my friend and her boys, and imagining love surrounding all of us, when suddenly I looked down and saw a little girl with blonde ringlets and big blue eyes silently looking up at me with her little arms outstretched. I reached down, picked her up, and said, "Well, hi there," and kissed her little cheek. The little girl laid her head on my right shoulder, and her body relaxed against mine. I rubbed her back, began gently rocking from side to side, and whispered to my friend, "Watch for someone who might be looking for her." Since my friend was on the lookout for anxious parents, I chose to enjoy the moment. I consciously kept my body relaxed and my breathing slow and full. And I noticed how it felt to have this little person completely relax against me. For several minutes, the two of us were in our own world. Watching the little girl in awe, my friend said, "Her eyes are half closed and she has a dreamy look on her face." I was in heaven. Eventually, a young woman approached us and I stood up, expecting my little friend to stir. But she didn't. She just stayed completely relaxed on my shoulder. The woman introduced herself and said my new friend was her niece Kennedy, and she was 18 months old. I rubbed Kennedy's back again and gently said, "Kennedy, look who's here." She looked up, but again made no movement to leave my arms. Kennedy's aunt reached out for her, and Then I caressed Kennedy's cheek and said, "Thank you," before they walked away. This was almost 20 years ago, and I will always and forever remember that day. When I had arrived at the park, I had been feeling lonely and a bit stressed as I was going through a divorce and trying to succeed in graduate school. But instead of giving my attention to what was bothering me, I had decided to completely enjoy whatever that day in the park brought, without trying to control anything. And I have to say, that was a big win for me because even now, I really like to have the illusion of control. When I used my imagination to radiate love toward my friends' boys, love was reflected back to me through little Kennedy, and the day was better than I ever would have thought to design for myself. I like to remember that when I feel worried about the future and I'm trying to control what happens. My snuggle with Kennedy is a reminder that as soon as I shift my attention away from my worries and shoulds and what ifs and use my imagination differently, I get to experience more love and deeper connection, whether I'm sitting on a park bench or even in a boardroom. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's great for you, Dr. Annie, but how does this relate to working in high-stress environments like healthcare? Well, my short answer is, trust me, because I've seen it work for nurses, doctors, and executives in 6 different health systems across the United States. But I know that seems like the opposite of evidence-based practice, so let me explain. When you work in healthcare, whether or not you're in a clinical role, your nervous system is probably on high alert most of the time. Because every day people are suffering around you, and you're making important decisions and often working long hours. Even if you don't deliver clinical care, it can start to feel like every moment is a life and death situation. And that pressure can lead you to pay attention to your thoughts and ignore every other aspect of yourself, like your body and your emotions. And without meaning to, you can start to feel disconnected from the people around you and even from yourself. An exercise like the one I did that day in the park will help. The one I call the sunshine exercise is really easy. It takes as little as 2 full breaths, and it might be familiar to you if you listened to episode 14. The sunshine exercise gives your brilliant, busy mind a moment to chill, and it reminds you that you are so much more than a decision maker who takes care of others and has to wait until later to take care of yourself. Here's how the sunshine exercise works. First, connect to your body. You can do this by feeling your feet on the floor, placing a hand on your chest, or consciously relaxing any of your muscles. Then breathe deeply. While you take a nice full inhale, imagine that you are being bathed in warm, golden sunlight. And finally, while you continue taking long, full breaths, imagine that sunlight is not only bathing you, it's radiating between you and another person. Or even your pet. It can actually be really fun to imagine radiating sunshine over your pet and see if they respond. You can do the sunshine exercise anywhere in seconds. Let me share some examples. Between patients. As you wash your hands or finish up a chart, take 2 full breaths and imagine sunshine flowing through you. You're already in the habit of doing those tasks, so just see if you can add this mental practice. During difficult conversations, whether you're delivering hard news or talking with a frustrated colleague, you can imagine sunshine bathing you and filling the entire room that you're in. With this simple exercise, you'll boost your own energy, maintain professional boundaries, and be more present with the other person. It's a win-win-win. If you don't work in healthcare, I hope you can see how the sunshine exercise can support you too, in any setting, including at home. I invite you to experiment with the sunshine exercise this week. Here are the 3 steps once more. First, connect to your body by feeling your feet on the floor or relaxing any muscle in your body. Then, as you breathe deeply, imagine that you are being bathed in warm, golden sunlight. And finally, imagine the sunlight is radiating between you and another person. That's all there is to it. Once you've become comfortable with the sunshine exercise, you can make it your own. Instead of sunshine, you might imagine love or appreciation or even water. Whatever feels best to you. It really doesn't matter, as long as what you imagine is something that feels good to you. I want to acknowledge that when you work in a high-stress environment like healthcare, the idea of letting your guard down with an exercise like this might feel counterintuitive. You've learned to rely on emotional distance and maybe caffeine to protect you from burnout. But since you're designed to feel emotions and rest your body occasionally, those tactics actually burn you out faster. When you imagine radiating genuine warmth and giving from a position of self-care rather than self-sacrifice, you'll experience authentic connection with yourself and with others, and that will protect you from burnout. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Heal Your Trauma, Find Your Voice. If you enjoyed this episode, please write a review and share the show with your colleagues. If you'd like more simple activities that support your well-being, download my free empowerment guide. You'll find the link in today's show notes or on anniecampanile.com. Next week, I'm kicking off a mini-series on boundaries, because the kind of boundary you set when you're in survival mode is not the same as the boundaries you choose when you're grounded and connected. Until then, I'm Dr. Annie Campanile, reminding you that healing is possible and you don't have to do it alone. See you next time.